special guest. You may know him from the Philly Influencer. You may know him from The Gambler. You may know him from Beat Your Bookie, who was featured on Fox 29. It is yours truly, Adrian Fedkiw. How are you doing, buddy?
I am doing great, Ben. Finally the Eagles get back in the win column, and they won a game the way that they wanted to win it. It was nice to see. Now they got the Bears, so they were bearing down after a 3-4 record there. But get back in the win column. They're 4-4 now, and we'll see what they can do entering the bye as one more game before it.
Yep, huge game against the Bears this week. We beat the Buffalo Bills. We actually killed the Buffalo Bills last week. It wasn't even a match. I was sitting downstairs watching. I was like, is this really happening? Carson Wentz finally found his balls and decided to play the game he played in 2017. It put a huge smile on my face. And, the only thing I'm really disappointed right now in is Howie Roseman, because Howie Roseman showed me that I was right about him. Going into this week, I told one of my best friends, that Howie Roseman was going to stay put because he does not like giving up draft capital. He didn't want to get a star, and he's going to make this team make or break going into the playoffs or not going into the playoffs with what they have. And we'll see. I mean, maybe he's putting all of his eggs in one basket with this Sean Jackson, but I don't know, man. It worries me a little bit because this team definitely has the talent, but at the same time, I just don't think they have what it takes to get over the hurdle and go for another Super Bowl. So it's very disappointing, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, here's the way I look at it, because I was on the radio last week talking about this, and I basically literally called it. I was like, don't be surprised if the Eagles basically don't do anything and go after a player you haven't heard of for a mid-round pick, and that's what they did in Jannard Avery. So Howie, he was the guy who set the trend. Couple years ago, you used to not make trades at the NFL trading deadline. Well, all of a sudden, he started to make them. Got a J.J. for a cheap price, and that was the thing. He made trades that were favorable for him. Well, now that the prices have skyrocketed, he's not put in these favorable situations as he was before. So he's trying to fleece you. Well, it's hard to fleece now because everybody wants these particular players, and since there's such a demand for these particular players, the prices are up. So it's harder for Howie to kind of lowball guys. So that's why they kind of stayed put. A lot of NFL teams stayed put. So it was like a real NFL trade deadline in a way. It was, the way it used to be.
Yeah, that trade deadline was one of the worst deadlines I've seen probably in my life. Nothing happened. GMs were terrified. I mean, we gave up a third rounder for Golden Tate last year, and then we have our dumbass offensive coordinator that doesn't know how to use him. He literally said that. I don't know how to use the guy. And pretty much that third rounder turned into a clutch fourth down catch, if you remember that, against the Bears.
Yeah.
It was, one of the better games I've seen in a very long time. Yeah. But other than that, to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement, but at the same time, like I said, I saw it coming, and it's just something we're gonna have to deal with. There's gonna be a lot of frustrations in games. There's gonna be a lot of he said, she said, maybe in the locker room, like we always see. And I hate that. I don't like when players attack each other behind their back. I like when they confront them personally. But there's obviously a snitch in that Eagles locker room, and hopefully this turns it around. Hopefully we get a winning culture here again, and I'm ready for the second run right after the bye. I know we're going to beat the Bears. The Bears, Mitch Trubisky sucks, and we're going to get pressure on him the whole day. We're at home, and I know he's going to come in for a vengeance. It won't matter, though. We're going to win this game, definitely.
Yeah, the thing that was encouraging last week was the fact that, they finally didn't get off to a slow start. They won it the way that they wanted to win the football game. So they weathered the early storm. So the defense coming in, here was the stat. They had allowed a touchdown on the opening drive in 5 of 7 games.
Yep.
So they got 3 and outs on the first 2 possessions. Fletcher Cox with the deep penetration on the first touch of Buffalo's, Buffalo's first drive. So 3 and out there, 3 and out. And the Eagles were the ones who actually got off to the 3-0 lead after the first quarter of play before the Bills scored their touchdown. So it was 7-3 Bills after that, and then boom, Eagles pretty much took it over. Start of the end of the first half and then the start of the second half, they sandwiched touchdowns together. Then they put the game away in the fourth quarter with Jordan Howard and the offensive line. So are we going to see that again? It's a great Bears defense. So the way I look at this one is Mitch Trubisky is going to be the one making mistakes, and as long as you don't make them on the offensive side, you should be able to win the game pretty handily.
Yeah, 100%. You have to make Mitch Trubisky make mistakes because our offense is it's going to be a tough time trying to get our offensive going like in a perfect rhythm against this team because they're so shut down. They have one of the best defensive ends in the game, slash linebacker in the game. So honestly, it's a vengeance game for the Bears, like I said before, and it's going to be one of those tough games. Them coming in the Lincoln Financial Field, they're 3-4. They missed on a missed kick last week, and it's going to be a tough game. But I just don't see how we don't get something going, muster up something against Mitch Trubisky because he stinks. He's going to make mistakes. And I think Carson Wentz is going to have a great game along with Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. I really do. And it would help that Deshaun Jackson played in this game. But if he didn't play in this game, I wouldn't be against it because I think we could beat the Bears without him. And then we'll have him rested up against the New England Patriots. So it's just something you have to think about going into it. But at the end of the day, the Bears just don't scare me. I'm sorry if there are any Chicago Bears fans watching. I'm actually not sorry. But, I just see that, yeah, they just don't scare me. They don't scare me at all. They're very vanilla. They have sucky kickers every single year. And they don't scare me at all. We're going to win this game probably by 10 points.
Yeah, the only thing they actually have in their favor, and that you kind of touched on it, is the fact that they've lost 3 in a row, the way that they lost last week on the missed field goal, and then the fact that Trubisky had the 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter. So it's like they're basically what the Cowboys were, a couple weeks ago, and then they went and spanked the Eagles 37-10. Now, different situation here because the Eagles are at home, but something to keep in mind, the Bears, they're 3-4. They're in the basement of the NFC North, or are they 3-4, right?
They're 3-4,
yeah. So this is a situation for them like the Eagles last week where they got their backs against the wall. They got to respond. So, this isn't something where they've come off back-to-back wins, aren't feeling what's the point? What's the word?
What's the word?
Couldn't think of the word. Blanket, bro. A blanket, bro.
Or resiliency?
We'll just go with that.
Let's go with that. Yeah, it's a big word.
Because now I forgot what the fuck I talked about.
No, it's all right, man. That's what the show's all about. You forget it, then it comes back.
I lost my train of thought.
I should call this show "Lost of Train of Thought."
Lost in train of thought. There you go. Instead of lost in translation, lost in train of thought. It works.
Yeah, it does, definitely. But how do you see this?
I'm going on a good tangent there too, and then I just lost it. So.
Oh, it's all right, man. Hey, listen, it happens sometimes. You're just thinking about the best thing ever, and all of a sudden, poof, gone. That's how the inventions that get people rich go to shit because they forget.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Got to write them down.
You know, definitely. Especially if you're dreaming, you wake up and write that shit down,
Yeah.
But, sometimes it just doesn't work out. But what are your keys to victory for this Sunday? Because it's quite simple. For me, it's basically stop the run attack with Tariq Cohen and Montgomery, I believe. And sack Mitch Trubisky 1,000 times. Put him into the dirt. Don't let him get up. Just drive him down. Just put him into the dirt. And you come out with a pretty easy victory. I mean, do you think the same, or do you have something different you want to add?
Yeah, I guess the guy to watch for me would be actually Allen Robinson, the wide receiver for the Bears, because third down defense, especially third and long defense, hasn't been good for the Eagles this year. They've been struggling to get the pressure with the defensive line on a consistent basis. So they're starting to get it more and more from Derek Barnett and Brandon Graham, but the problem is they're not getting it from anybody else. So Josh Sweat, maybe gets it from time to time, but they're not getting the production that they've been getting from Michael Bennett and Chris Long in the years past, which is the reason why they made this move for Jannard Avery in the first place.
Yep.
Because Sweat and Deshaun Hall is not really even getting playing time, but they're just not getting after the quarterback, and that's what's leading to the third and long conversions because the Eagles' cornerbacks aren't good enough. So years past, you would see the pressure from the defensive line get to the quarterback so quickly that the routes from the wide receivers wouldn't be able to materialize past the stick. So that's what's going on this year. The defensive.
Well, let's talk about Jannard Avery, our newest pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of fans are saying, "Who the hell is this guy?" Stuff like that. I go on to the Cleveland Browns Twitter page, All right, it says that they traded him away and that they hate the move. And
Oh
to
yeah,
me,
they Cleveland likes him.
yeah,
Yeah, and actually Howie has actually had his reportedly he's had his eye on him for a while. So here's why I like the move, because you need depth at D line because of the rotation that Jim Schwartz likes to implement, and the fact that he's 24 years old and he's only in his second year. So you're giving up a 4th-round pick for a guy that was drafted in the 5th last year. He had 4.5 sacks as a rookie, but then he got hurt in the preseason, and he basically really hasn't been used ever since. So I think it's more that the Browns don't know what they're doing more so than, what's Howie doing. I think Howie knows what he's doing in this situation because he's had his eye on this particular player, and he's so we actually, kind of bashed him to start. But I think this might be, wind up being a sneaky good move for the Eagles if he pans out. So we'll see.
well, the Browns are a dumpster fire. We all know this. They're 2-5. Baker Mayfield looks like an absolute bust. Odell Beckham Jr. is probably regretting asking. I don't even think he asked for a trade. I think he just got traded.
Yeah.
He's probably regretting that move right now. Who cares? I mean, I would love to have Odell, but he could die out there in Cleveland for all I care. But yeah, that team is in such bad shape right now. So I think that it was like more of a panic move towards the deadline. They know they're not using the guy, and they want to get some value for him.
Yeah.
I think it was a bad move because, like you said, 4.5 sacks his rookie year, 40 tackles going into this year before he got hurt. And the reason why they didn't use him is because he didn't fit the scheme. And that's going off of what I said about Golden Tate and what Bro didn't want to use Tate because he didn't know how to use him. It's the same exact thing. So I feel like on a defensive line heavy team, we love our defensive linemen here. I feel like you're going to plug him in, and you're going to use him as a linebacker as well because he can play linebacker too.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be a diamond in the rough, and I think he's gonna surprise some people for sure.
I agree,
and I can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And they need some much needed help along the defensive line. They need that depth, and he's going to bring it. So it's going to take some time, to learn the scheme and learn some things. Maybe by 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, we'll see the beneficiary of it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, what do you think about Timmy Jernigan, Avonte Maddox suiting up today? Is that telling, or is that just kind of like a mirage?
Yeah, I think it's a sign in the right direction. Obviously, you need Timmy Jernigan back because defensive tackle rotation has been kind of sucky. It sucks because Hassan Ridgeway got hurt, and it's a shame because he had actually been playing pretty good, and then he got hurt, and then pretty good considering what the situation had been. And then he got hurt, and then it really went to shit. But now you got Timmy Jernigan back, and that's huge because obviously you had the injury to Malik Jackson that he got hurt, who he was the backup. So you had this great defensive tackle rotation that went to shit due to injury, but it's good to have him back.
Yeah, definitely. We need every single piece we can on the defensive line since, like you said, our corners aren't very good. Now, granted, we're getting Maddox back and we have Jalen Mills back. But at the same time, even in our Super Bowl year, our corners weren't that good. It was the pressure getting to the quarterback that made the throws all messed up. It made the QB rattled. And we need more of that. And I'm just not seeing the pressure. The last time I saw it was this Sunday, obviously. But that was like the first time in a long time. So they have to keep consistency on the defensive line if we're going to succeed, because if they don't get pressure, that Pats game is going to be crazy, horrible, bad. It's going to be so bad. I'm losing words right now because I'm thinking about that Pats game, and yeah, I think I'm going, and it's not going to be good if we don't get pressure. So
yeah, and they get the ball out quick too. So but. The fortunate thing is they don't have Gronk right now, obviously, because he's retired, and they just got rid of Josh Gordon. So, obviously they pick up Mohamed Sanu, but still trying to figure himself out into the scheme. So maybe you benefit. I mean, I don't think they're as great offensively as they were, obviously, 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. So we'll see about that. But you need to pressure Brady, and unfortunately this isn't something that the Eagles have done consistently. So we'll see if it has turned the corner here.
Yeah, and he's coming for a vengeance, obviously, because of the Super Bowl. He's never lost in Philly, and the team is undefeated. So it's going to be one of those games where it's either we're going to come out with the upset win, or they're just going to destroy us the whole game.
Here's what I will say. They are kind of struggling stopping the run, but But the problem is like they get up, so you kind of don't see it. But if you look at like yards per carry average, you can run on them. And if they don't get down early, which has been the problem all season long, honestly, like I really like the way I saw them against the Bills. And if they win the same way again against the Bears, get off to a better start, you take over at halftime, you put the game away in the fourth quarter. Call them a shot right now. They're going to beat the Patriots.
There you go. I love it. And you know what? They're going to beat the Bears. They're going to kill the Patriots. They're going to kill everyone in front of them. They're going to go on a run, 12-4.
They might like I'm not even like kidding here, because this is what I've been waiting for all season long. As bad as it has looked, I'm like, man, they can't keep getting off to these slow starts. At some point, you're going to figure it out, and after you figure it out, that's when you can really implement the game plan that you really want to, which is the running game, and that's where the league is going right now. Because if you look at the top teams in the NFL and you look at the run pass ratios, the guys who are like 1 through 5 are like San Francisco and Baltimore and Indianapolis. These are all the top echelon teams. They're running the football this year. The reason why they're running the football is defenses to transition and help against the pass have gotten smaller and quicker. Well, now teams are like Baltimore started doing this last year to end the year, just started running over teams. And that's what the Eagles are going to do to close the year. And I really feel that. We saw it last week, 41 carries for Jordan Howard. They're going to use the O-line. They're going to use Jordan Howard. They're going to use Miles Sanders. And I think they can definitely go on a run.
Well, the key to this season, in my opinion, other than a defensive line, is how Carson Wentz plays his game. Him running for the first down, I think it was 4 times last Sunday? Him running for the first down 4 times last Sunday kept the defense on their heels. They didn't know what was coming next. And you saw the defense just fall apart when Carson Wentz started running for those first downs. Like, he'd have wide open throws over the middle. The running game would work all of a sudden. Carson Wentz needs to continue to do that and play the game we paid him to play. We gave him a $128 million contract, and I think 107 of it is guaranteed.
Yep.
So I know he doesn't want to risk injury. I understand that, but we paid him the money, and he's got to be consistent with that play because he played really good on Sunday. Like, I'm not going to say great because I don't use that word often, but he did what he needed to do to get this team in rhythm. And that's why I was saying to Darius during the stream, I was like, this team reminded me of the 2017 team in that game. Because everything was working, everything was in rhythm. And Buffalo's not a bad team. They might be overrated, but there's a reason why they kept the Patriots within scoring distance,
Yep.
And, it's just one of those things that if Carson Wentz plays his game, like he needs to continue playing that way against the Bills, we could possibly make another run. But do I see that consistency? I don't know.
We need to see it. Well, yeah, we need to, like, if they beat the Bears handily the way that they did last week with the Bills, and then again, then they go shock the world against the Patriots. Yeah, they're going on a run.
Yeah. So. Now, if they do beat the Patriots, how far do you think they'll go?
I think they go all the way with it.
Really?
Like, just all the way with it.
All the way.
Like this. I've been waiting for this because this is what Seattle did and does every year. They go 3-3, 3-4 to start, and then they go right up.
Yep.
The real teams emerge at the end of November. It's almost November. It's October 30th. We're getting there. We're turning the page. So we're almost there. And if you beat the Bears, I'm telling you right now, this is why I've been so calm and so patient. And there is nobody in the NFC besides New Orleans. I don't want to go to New Orleans, but I'm not intimidated by going to San Francisco. We already beat Green Bay. Minnesota might win the NFC North, but I think it's going to Green Bay. So the Eagles are definitely still in it here. And I really believe that after last Sunday's win, that was the type of win that they needed to springboard a run.
Yeah, 100%. And you brought up the New Orleans Saints. I don't think anyone wants the New Orleans Saints more than I do. I want to beat them in their own house so badly. It's going to be a really tough game. They look so good. That looks like the Super Bowl matchup right now, the Pats versus the Saints. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to beat the Saints so badly that would overdo, let's just say this. It wouldn't overdo the Super Bowl, but that would overdo a lot of the inspiring wins I've seen throughout my Eagles fanhood, throughout the years. And I just feel like if we beat the Saints, we'll overcome so much, and we'll become a dynasty. That's just what I see.
Yeah.
And to be the best, you got to beat the best, and I want the best. But with that being said, we have to take care of business against the Bears, a lackluster team, and then we start playing the big boys. We play the Pats, then we play the Seahawks.
Play two big boys, and after you get done with those two big boys, it's cupcakes.
Yeah, it is.
Except for Dallas at home, but like that's why they can seriously go on a run if they beat New England, because you have Seattle at home, and I'm gonna tell you right now, Seattle is not as good as people think, because Seattle has beaten teams like the Bengals and whatever, and not only have they beaten these teams, they've been by minimal point differential. So Seattle is a team that is definitely beatable. Now the problem is Russell Wilson is really good. So realistically, what you want is a split against New England and Seattle. And if you get the split, I think you can go 11-5, definitely.
Yeah, and we got to beat those damn Cowboys, man. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. I went all the way down to Dallas to see a good game. It wasn't even a good game. You know, it was just –
The game was over after the first 5 plays. After the Goddard fumble was over.
It was over. The momentum was gone. And we usually go down there and light it up. I don't know how that –
The reason why it was over is because, like, they talked about – they emphasized the slow starts all week. They even took the ball to start the game. And the fact that they fumbled 5 plays into the game after a promising, first 4 plays was just completely demoralizing. And, yeah, they lost the football game because of that. Because then the Cowboys scored 14 points, and it was over.
And that's why I thought the Buffalo Bills game was huge, because after a game like that against the Cowboys, we were guaranteeing victory. And the Cowboys lost to the Jets the week before. Something's wrong with my mic, I think. I don't know. But
I think your mic sounds fine. It's fine on my end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you actually using a mic? Like, you're just coming in on regular camera mic, right? Oh, you do have a mic. Oh, okay. So maybe it isn't working.
Yeah, I'm using a Yeti. You getting feedback on your mic? Yeah, I think so. Oh, I'm getting feedback on my mic. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I set it up stupidly. Whatever. But with that being said, yeah, going back to the Bills game, that's why it was so huge, because it's just that loss in Dallas was so daggering. And, it was just one of those losses where you could see the team going down the road just losing 5 out of their 6 next games, because the Dallas Cowboys lost to the Jets, and it just wasn't looking good for us. And it was embarrassing at that point, because I hate the Dallas Cowboys. Now, granted, Dallas is a really good football team. Well, fuck that. Dallas is a really good city, not a good football team. And the people were nice, but it was just all, I'm not going to say it was all ruined, but it just sucked going down there and watching that.
Yeah. So if you don't know, so EDP was actually in town in Philly during that game, and his flight had a flight delay. So by the time he came, it was already 14-0. So I waited in the hotel for him before he came, and at least the manager was nice enough to let me go and watch the game on the second floor. But it was over by the time he got there, and it was just like, what's the point of me even showing up to hang out with you? The game's fucking over.
Yeah. Didn't he have a premiere or something like that? He had a premiere.
Yeah, he was in a movie called Maybe Next Year. So it's called Maybe Next Year. I told him when I saw him, you should have called it Maybe This Year, because you fucking won. But Maybe Next Year is too cliche.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
It's like the Fever Pitch movie, where they were making the movie about a Red Sox loser as a fan, and then as they were filming, the Red Sox won the World Series.
Yeah.
So they had to switch it up.
Yeah.
But that was pretty interesting. But yeah.
I didn't see the movie though, because I wasn't able to see the premiere. But I don't know if it's coming back or coming out or whatever. But I'd like to.
Is it? Do you think it's going to come out in theaters?
Well, I don't know in theaters, but I don't know, DVD or something.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that should be interesting take. I would love to see. I would definitely go travel to see that movie, because me and EDP are actually cool again. So
yeah.
I'll definitely go check that out.
Yep.
But you know what? Before we get out of here, because we're at 25 minutes right now, I just want your deep description or in-depth whatever into the game.
Deep
descriptions of how we're gonna beat the Bears, and Your ultimate final score prediction.
Okay. All right. So ultimately, how you beat the Bears? First and foremost, you got to take Allen Robinson away because I feel confident that they're going to be able to stop the run. So take Allen Robinson away. You have Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby back, and now they're not the greatest thing in the world, but they're better than what they've had. And actually, last week you didn't face anybody because you didn't have a threat besides John Brown, but they played well last week, so maybe their confidence is up. And then Allen Robinson, got to clamp him down. Now, offensively, it's just not turning the ball over. It sounds simple, it sounds stupid, but you make the Bears make the mistakes because Mitchell Trubisky stinks. So you just don't turn the ball over offensively. You run the ball. Now, they are 12th against the pass. So their pass defense isn't what it was last year as long as you keep Carson Wentz protected. So as long as you keep Khalil Mack out of your backfield, which is another big key to the game. So Andre Dillard, I'm sure they're going to try to expose that matchup. So Andre Dillard going to have a real tough task on his hands. But he played better last week. I thought he was better, although he still made some, boo-boos. But, he was better. So gotta combat that and attack the secondary, which is now no longer with Adrian Amos. So he's now with another team. Where did he go? Jesus, forget where he went. But
then he go to he went somewhere as a coordinator, I think.
Adrian Amos went. Geez, I'm blanking, but I know he went to another team. Green Bay. Green Bay is where he went.
Yep,
so,
you're right.
Safety. So Kyle Fuller's pretty good, but besides that, you can kind of go in there cool. Yeah, you can go in the corners, and Deshaun's going to be back. So run the ball and keep it conservative offensively, not make any mistakes, and you'll come away with a victory. It may not be a pretty victory, but I got 20-16 right now, Eagles.
20-16.
Yeah.
All right. I said before the stream started, I think that we're going to win the game by 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the Bears stink that much. We're at home. And we know we have to continue to compete with the Cowboys, who are obviously going to have some easy games down the road. Their schedule's kind of cake. So, we have to come and play our A game every single week. And this is a good test for us against the Bears, who are let's face it, they're kind of on our level right now. I personally think we have head over shoulders the best QB over Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky fucking stinks.
Yep.
But other than that, there's no reason to think why would we lose this game. There's no reason to think that. But then again, I went into the Detroit Lions game and I thought the same thing. So it's just one of those games where you need to be up for it. The whole team needs to show up, and just play Eagles football.
We'll know if they win the game after the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's what it is with these games and this team this year. We'll know after the first quarter. If they're not down by double digits, they're going to win the game. If they are, they're going to lose.
Yeah, exactly. And they can't – if they're going down the field on their first possession, get a touchdown. No more of this 3-point bullshit, all right? Yeah. It's 4-down territory. You have to get a touchdown because, no one's scared of 3 points. Name me one team that you think against us that won't go right down the field on us other than maybe Miami.
Well, good thing the Bears kind of stink, so maybe they can hold them to a field goal.
Possibly.
On that opening drive, even though it's been ugly for them this year. So, we'll see if, again, that's what it's been, man, with this team and how you can have turnarounds happen is you got to reverse the trends, and the trend was reversed last week, so maybe, you get it continued to reverse. If that makes any sense psychologically. I don't know.
It makes a ton of sense.
There you go. So I don't know if it made sense to the people, but it made sense in my head.
Yeah. You thought about it. You just had to air it.
Yeah. My mind just races and thinks crazy things.
Yeah, it happens. And someone in the comment section they asked who the Eagles play, and then he was like, never mind.
How do you not know who the Eagles play?
Exactly.
Come on. It's Wednesday.
We gotta wake up.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's the Bears.
Hey, listen, I tried to do this 9:30 stream because the late crowd's usually smart, but Jesus Christ.
The Bears are who we thought they were. Man,
yeah.
Dude, by the way, so before we get out of the stream, I made a video last year where I got completely fucking hammered about the Khalil Mack trade. I was like, this is a stupid trade because Mitchell Trubisky's a bust, and now you don't have picks to replace him. Or if you pay him all that money, like your offense isn't good enough because he's not good enough. And all of a sudden now they're 3-4. They stink. They were the beneficiaries of an easy schedule. So now all of a sudden, this is who the Bears are. The Bears are who I thought they were.
They stink.
They stink. Yeah. And I was right. So all you people in Chicago, fuck off.
Yeah. Oh, the guy that said who is the Eagles playing is a Cowboys fan, so that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, because they're dumb.
Yeah, they're extremely dumb. But yeah, thanks for the chat anyway. With that being said, guys, this was a great stream. It went really quick. And the late crowd's awesome. Fedkiw's more used to the 7:30, 8 p.m. crowd, which is understandable because that's where everyone just gets lumped into one. But definitely the next time we're on, we'll try to do it more at 8 o'clock, in the family zone. So until next time, that's Adrian Fedkiw. I'm Nitro Freak, and check on out of here. Anything else to say, Adrian?
I'm good. I got my Bears ran out of the way.
All right, awesome. See you guys.